If you're doing super good, give me 2 thumbs up. If you're doing like great, 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 great and good, let me see you do oh yeah. Say oh yeah. All right, friends, as every day, I am super excited for you guys to be here today. Today we're going to learn something new. Say something new. Something new, yes. Now, today's lesson is all about decimals. Say decimal. Decimals are they look just like little points. Okay, these are decimals. These are all decimals. Okay, they look like periods. So I'll explain to you what decimals mean after we do our little warm-up on our place value chart. Now, I know you guys remember hundreds, tens, and ones. What? All right, now, I'm going to show you a number and a place value, and I want you to tell me how many hundreds or how many tens or how many ones. Okay, got it? Here we go. How many ones? How many tens? How many hundreds? All right, what's the number? 111. All right, let's do another one. How many ones? How many tens? How many hundreds? Good, let's say it together. 955. Now, I wonder who can tell me the value of these ones. If I counted all my ones together, my value would be 5. If I put all of my tens together, I have 1 10, 2 tens, 3 tens, 4 tens, 5 tens. That's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. The value of my tens is 50. Then I have 9 hundreds. I have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. So the value of my 900s is 900. What's the number? Who can read this number for me? What does this number say? Good. 955. Say go, go me. All right, now if you would notice, whenever we look at our place value chart, it goes from big to smaller to smaller. Each time it goes over to the right, it gets smaller. So again, I have hundreds, then my tens, which is smaller than hundreds, then my ones, which is smaller than my tens. How many ones would equal 110? Who can tell me? How many ones equal 110? I'm going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many ones did I count that got me 110? Good job. 10 ones equal 110. 10 ones equal. Good. Now, who can tell me how many tens equal 100? How many tens equal 100? Let's count. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. How many tens equal 100? Good. 10 tens equal 100. 10 tens equal. Good job, guys. So 10 ones equal 110 and 10 tens equal 100. All right, so now that you guys remember that on our place value chart, it goes from big to smaller to smaller. Today, we're learning about decimals. Now, with decimals, I'll tell you what a decimal point is. A decimal point separates the whole numbers, which will be on this side, the whole numbers, from the parts. Now, as you will notice on this place value chart, I have my whole numbers, like my regular hundreds, tens, and ones, but then I have a decimal point here. This separates the hundreds, tens, and ones from the parts. The numbers on this side are all parts of a whole. Hundreds, tens, and ones are whole numbers. These are whole numbers. Then on this side, remember, as I go to the right, each number gets smaller. So I go from my whole numbers to only parts of my whole. I have whole numbers and then parts of my whole. All of my numbers on this side of the decimal are wholes. But all the numbers to the right side of the decimal are parts. They are called tenths and hundredths. Notice that on here, it's not the whole. It says tenths. T-H-S. Say it with me. Tenths. Say it again. Tenths. This is a part of a whole. Just like hundredths here. It says T-H-S at the end, which makes it hundredths. Say it with me. Hundredths. One more time. Hundredths. Now, you know, like Miss Horton just told you, that the whole numbers, then there are parts of the whole numbers. Whole numbers, then my decimal that separates it from whole numbers and parts of the whole. Okay, now we're going to do a little practice on my anchor chart. Remember, each time I hit my decimal, the number gets smaller. This side are my whole numbers, and then this side are parts of a whole. Notice the T-H-S, tenths. All right, now, this picture right here represents one whole, okay? It represents one whole. Now, this side says 1, 1. So when I fill in this entire picture, that means that I have one whole. Watch me fill in this entire picture. If I fill it in, I have one whole. I have one whole because I'm filling all of it in. So now I have one whole. That's 1, 1. This is a whole. This equals one whole. Now, after my decimal point, it gets smaller. I have tenths, T-H-S. This is just 1/10 of my whole. I have 1/10. See, this is 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have a tenth of my whole, a part of my whole. This is one whole. I fill in the whole picture. This is just 1/10 of my whole. This is part of a whole. So I have 1 and 1/10. Okay, now let's go to the next one. Oh, I see again this decimal. I have 1, 1. So that means it's a whole because this side of the decimal point are wholes. Okay, so I'm going to fill in the whole picture because it's a whole. I would fast forward this part.
Your mama text you.
Okay. I have one whole. Now, I look at my tenths. Remember, it gets smaller when we go to the right side of the decimal point. Now, I see tenths, 0 tenths. So I don't have to fill anything in for tenths. But now I see hundredths. Remember, like Miss Horton showed you, when we look at the right side of the decimal point, it gets smaller and smaller. So I have 1 1s, and then as I go more to the right, it gets smaller. 1s, then on the right is tenths, then hundredths. My hundredths is smaller because it goes more to the right. So now I have to fill in 100th. It's just 1/100th. It's one part of the whole. This is one whole number. This is just 100th. 100th. 100. Remember, it's smaller. 1/10 is bigger because tenths comes first. Then my hundredths, which is smaller. So I would read this as 1 and 100ths. Got it? All right, now let's go to this one. Here I also see I have one whole. This side is whole. So I have to fill it in. This is a whole. Now that I have my one whole, now after my decimal point, I see I have 1/10. Remember, this is smaller. When I go to the right side of the decimal point, my number gets smaller. So it's only a part of my whole. This is the whole. Now I have to put 1/10, a part of the whole. So I have 1/10. This is 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is 1/10. 1/10. I also have 1/100th. Remember, if you look at this one, my 100th is smaller. So I have 1/100th. I have 1 and 1/10 and 1/100th. If I put it together, this reads as 1 and 11/100ths. 11/100ths. When I have two numbers here, I have to say it using the smallest place value. So since I have two here, two numbers, I have to say my smallest place value because this ends last. This is the last one I see. So 1 and 11/100ths. All right, now let's do this one. Ooh, I see here 0, 1. So I don't have any holes here. I don't have anything. So I'm not going to fill this picture in because I don't have anything. Okay? I don't have a hole. I have 0. So here I see 43/100ths. Here, remember when the two numbers are there, I say the whole number and I use the last place value that I see, which is 100. The smallest one, 100ths. So I'm going to fill in 4/10. I have 4/10, 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10. Remember, THS, tenths. This is smaller. 4/10, and then I have 3/100ths. Remember, my hundredths is smaller. When I go to the right, it gets smaller and smaller. So now 3/100ths. 100th, 200th, 300ths. So altogether, I have 43/100ths. 43/100ths. All right, now let's do the last two together. These are a little different. So now we have to be like super detectives. Dun dun dun. All right, now as detectives, we need to figure out what number is shaded in these pictures. Okay, so we're gonna look at what's shaded inside of our pictures, and we need to choose if this picture is 1 and 8/10 or 1 and 8/100ths. Now look at this one. See, I don't have any tenths, so I'm gonna say hundredths. This says 1 and 8/10 or 1 and 8/100ths. Let's look. I know I have 1 for sure. This is 1 whole. So both of these have 1 whole. Now I'm gonna look at what's after the decimal point. Here I see 8/10. Here I see 8/100ths. Let me look, what do I have here? I don't see any tenths. My tenths would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'll have 8 of these as tenths. But I only see hundredths. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Only 8. So I know my answer must be 1 and 8/100ths. This is my answer. Now let's look at this one. I wonder if you can figure this one out. Super smart detective. Can you solve the mystery? Now, let's look at these. I'm not going to tell you the answer. I want you to think about it first. Look at the picture. What do you see? What does this represent? And then what does this represent? Now look at the numbers. What does this one say? This says 1 and 3/10. And then this one says 1 and 3/100ths. Now let me look at the first part. I know that when I look at this picture, this is 1 whole. I see both of these have 1 whole. So now let me look at the second picture. Is this 3/10 or is this 3/100ths? Who knows? Oh, some of you guys did not get tricked. Good. This is 3/10. Ooh, you guys are super smart. We're going to have to do a cheer. Who can think of a cheer for me? What cheer are we going to do? I think you guys were incredible. So let's do Incredible Hulk cheer. Get ready, go. That was incredible. Like the Hulk. Good job, guys. I'm super, super proud of you. All right, friends. So now I'm going to ask you a few questions for a number that you see right here. This first number, we read it as 1 and 32 hundredths. Okay? What is the value of the 2? It is 2 hundredths. What's the value of the 3? It is 3 tenths. All right, now I'm going to do a different number. Now, this number says 2 and 94 hundredths. Okay? Now, what's the value of the 4? It is 4 hundredths. What's the value of the 9? It is 9 tenths. Okay, now let's say I just have this number here. Okay? Let's say it is 0.8 or 0 and 8 tenths. What is the value of the 8? Who knows it? Ooh, good job, friend. It is 8 tenths. All right, good job. You guys did absolutely amazing today. I know you just got super smart. You guys just grew your brain as big as my hair. You guys are super smart. Way to go, team. I'm excited. I hope you get an A+ on your homework today. Bye.